Okay, so now that the superintendent is here, we can go on to the superintendent's report. There are 3 items under superintendent's report. Someone like to make a motion for those 3 items? Jen and Karen, Richard? Okay. I guess we can vote on these and then if you want to say anything else. Does anyone have any questions about the items before we vote on them? Mr. Byrne?
I'd like to know about the evacuation drills, and then I have a question on item 3.
Okay.
Sure. So several years ago, at this point, it's been a few years, the state started to require that we report publicly when we did our bus evacuation drills. So every time the schools practice evacuating the students off the bus, they have to report to the central office, and we put it on the agenda to report out publicly that we have conducted the drills. So these are recent drills that were done this fall, this month.
Okay. Good. I want to get on to the clubs just for a minute. The first one, the current events club, almost sounded like it was politics. The Medicare for All versus Medicare for America. It's almost right into the presidential election. And the new Green Deal, I'm concerned it sounds like politics to me. And, so that particular one I'm going to vote against. I don't think we ought to have Democrats and Republicans in the high school.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, so we could take a roll call, please.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes on everything but that one current events club.
3. Okay. Gotcha. Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Ms. McEwen?
Yes.
Ms. Richmond?
Yes.
Ms. Korn?
Yes.
Ms. Woolridge?
Yes.
Madam President.
Thank you. Did you have anything else?
I already reported out on the item from Thursday night here at Wayman, and that was the other thing I was going to share with you. So, no, everything else. Thanks.
Thank you. So we're up to public comment on agenda items. If anyone has a comment or question on something that's on the agenda or from the presentation, now would be the time. If you come up, tell us your name and address, and you can sign in on the clipboard after we speak, because that makes it go a little faster.
Elaine D'Addario, 46 Dykeman Place. You all know. The presentations were great, thank you for that. But I still think if your first strand is communication, that you're lacking in that. And I'll tell you why. I've been asking for months for the health curriculum for grades 10 for sophomores. You're having a meeting, I noticed through DynaCal, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. You change it, now it's next Monday. I can appreciate that. My frustration is that you're changing it to 2 days before the marking period ends. So we are begging, asking, and clawing to see the curriculum for grade 10 that you spent the summer updating, and it's not easily communicated to parents. I've been told to go to Rubicon, even in your link on the BT Connect. The link brings you, if you do what you ask us to do and search up Health 10, that's not what you get. I have it right over here. You get a lot of other things with grade 12, third grade, a lot of stuff comes up, I'll show it to you. But it's not grade 10. Previous to that coming out and me reading about it, I went on Rubicon. I searched high and low, I searched physical education, 10th grade, sophomores, anything to come up with that, just that information. So if you want to communicate, if that's a strand of yours and you're really serious about it, why can't you just send the curriculum to all the sophomore families so we don't have to beg, scratch, and claw for it? I still don't have it. The presentation Mr. Scheller did was very nice, but it's still giving me the same information that I've known for a while. They gave that information out at back to school night on what the general areas to be discussed are. But you're still not giving me the curriculum, and I'm begging you for the curriculum. That being said, Tuesday or Monday is a meeting I can't attend, and you all well know that this has been my baby for a long time, and I do communicate it to the community. I'm the best person for that. You have Board of Ed PTO presidents going to this meeting, which I talk to. I'm on the PTO, I'm on every other committee too, and I know how they feel about it, but I also know I know more about it. And now I can't go to the meeting on Monday. I would move heaven and earth to be there, but I cannot be there. If something else was planned, can't be moved, or believe me, you all know I would. So is that meeting going to be videotaped? How are we going to know about it? And my biggest frustration on that meeting and that date and how it was set there is that it's 2 days before the end of the marking period, when you're going to ask 2 days later for people to send their kids to a 3 weeks of classes that we still don't know in detail what that is, what that means. But we've been asking for months, and we're going to find out 2 days before it's implemented and they're actually in those classes. So with that being said, please help me understand the opt-out options, because that's something a lot of people are seriously concerned about. I've been asking, I'm still here with the same questions. I just wish it was better communicated so it wouldn't be so hard for us to find. I mean, if you want to communicate with parents, please do it. It's not that hard. What else do I have? On option 2, which I seriously, and I may be wrong, feel like you guys are trying to phase out in every way but Sunday. I was emailed private message by somebody that I don't know, but that was telling me CYO, which is through St. James Church, a basketball program my kids did for years, even though they played at Ridge here now. They phased that out. You're not allowed to do that through option 2 now. Why would they do that? I don't understand that. And why wouldn't you communicate that to parents? Because now people are signed up for that, and now they're looking for another thing to do, so that their kid can get the study hall because they're going to be playing basketball through CYO. I don't understand it. But that's another thing that could be easily communicated to people if you're going to take out options. If you could communicate it before they actually sign up and then the marking period comes and they've already done all that work, it'd be helpful.
Excuse me, Mr. You have about a minute.
Thank you. Rubicon. I don't know when that went into place. Nobody's really ever heard about it until more recently when I was begging for the curriculum. And it's really not a great program. It's not user-friendly, so I don't know if that can change, or if you're stuck in it, then please help parents understand how to best use it. And then with the grading for the 10th grade, I'm a little disappointed to find out they're just going to lump it all together. I'd rather my son get a grade for driver's ed and then understand what this 3 weeks of a new, brand new curriculum brings for that class. I hope you have some answers for us this time. I appreciate your time. I know you all are doing a lot of hard work. I see the progression. I know it's going in a good direction, but the communication is really key. I love the BT Connect, but if you can't make it and you're not videotaping it and nobody shows up, let's make it all work so we get somewhere. Thank you.
My name is Michelle, and by the way, talk about BT Connect. There's a problem for our, elementary school parents and the PTO too, because I think there's one meeting arranged at 3:45, right? And during that time, we can't be there because our kids are too little. So the parents have to be home. So because I'm on the PTO board and we were talking about it, and most of us are trying to help the president to attend the meeting, but 3:45, that time, we have elementary school kids and the pre-K kids and even younger ones, so we can be there. So is it possible to change another time, considering the elementary school parents? So that's what I'm thinking about this. Thank you. That was our way.
I'm Melissa Moss, 62 Ramco Drive. I did appreciate the discussion and what Mr. Shallow shared. And I also, like Elaine Darius said, look forward to some more concrete details, especially so close to the 10th grade health curriculum being introduced. Having the BT Connect meeting a couple of days before gives me pause how much of what feedback is given from the community would actually be rolled in to the 10th grade health curriculum that's being introduced just a couple of days later. Also, in terms of what I saw on the slides today and how health is going to be graded, I just wanted to share from the spring. I know that might be a former curriculum, but my son was in 9th grade going through health class, and more than 2, and I think 3 or 4 students in my son's health class approached him upset about their grades in health because they were too shy to share in group discussions. And sometimes kids suffer in silence, and when you grade students on sensitive subjects, you have, I'm not educated in that, but I guess you have to be trained as teachers to recognize that maybe kids who have a lot to say aren't comfortable saying it. And when their grades are connected to that, it's scary for them. So, excuse me, my son, he wasn't part of Mr. Krause's small group. He emailed just because he felt bad. And, the emails back weren't particularly helpful, but my son suggested maybe students could get extra credit by going to their guidance counselor and quietly discussing some of what they're thinking about what they're learning in health class. And Andy was just emailed back, well, no, that's not good enough to change your grade. So I just ask parents, but also for these students who are listening to what's going on in their new health curriculum and maybe want to share but aren't comfortable, for those students to be provided with opportunities that they feel comfortable sharing, and if their grade could reflect that, that's great. The bottom line, obviously, is that they're comfortable sharing, but hearing about grades and Ridge, it sometimes gives kids additional stress. So if bridges can be built into the new curriculum where students could potentially get credit by sharing in a more quiet setting, I think that might be helpful to students who really need it.
Hi, I'm Liv Gray, high school student, I guess you call it. But as a high school student, I actually have like 2 concerns. The first concern is about I know that you guys for like the 10th grade health curriculum or whatever you guys want to do, teach kids about like suicide and stuff. And I think, this is too high. I think the issue with that is that a lot of kids, and speaking from my own experiences, which I'm comfortable sharing with, and experiences with my friends or really experiencing it, I think the curriculum doesn't really go deep into detail with it than they should. And I don't think they promote the right ideals with it, because all they do, no offense, is that they just set up posters that say, oh, tomorrow you need to be here, but it doesn't really help students who are struggling with it. And especially with the grading system, I know personally that school is super stressful, and especially with presenting, which Melissa mentioned, so I agree with her with that, because it's really stressful, and for me right now, it's really stressful to talk right now, but it's important. But it's important that these kids like know that they are smart, and they do deserve the good grade that they deserve, but it's hard for them to go up there and talk due to maybe social anxiety, or just anxiety in general. And it kind of aggravates me that kids that don't really get the good grades that they deserve, it's just only affected by their presentation skills and all that, and their own thoughts. So I agree with what Melissa said about, getting the extra credit that they deserve if they talk about it directly to a counselor and maybe like a teacher that's in that room. And just going back to the suicide thing, like I said, it's not really addressed that well. I think a lot of kids they don't feel comfortable, or they don't feel, I guess, like, they feel really alone because they don't really know who to go to. And as someone who's, like, dealt with it, I know that I had to struggle with talking to my teachers or anyone. So I think that we need to definitely promote suicide as a serious, serious issue, because many students actually leave school. A friend of mine actually is not even in school. It was the first 2 days of school. He was so stressed out, he went to a program. And I think that's, no offense, I think that's a little bit messed up. And I think that Ridge High School or WAMS or really any school should have a safe environment. So, I think that definitely we need to promote that as an issue. And another thing is that with health, with the whole drugs and alcohol thing, is that we've been repeated, we've had the same exact thing repeated to us since 7th grade. And you guys haven't done really anything else to change or tell us how bad it could be. So I think we also need to address that as a serious issue, because we just keep repeating to students that, oh, don't do this, don't do that, because it's bad for you, and here's that side effects, but it doesn't really go deep into statistics or someone personally dealing with it. I don't think we've had someone a drug addict or someone who's been to rehab or something come into our school and talk about why it's such an issue to do vaping or, I don't know, heroin, crack, cocaine. We don't really talk about that, which is a big issue. And especially as a high schooler, obviously I deal with kids all the time who vape and do drugs and go to parties and all that stuff, which I'm not into. But I've seen students struggle with that, which we need to do a better job at addressing that issue. Thanks.
Is there anyone else for public comment on agenda items?
Hi, good evening. My name is Helen Zhang. I live in 31 Lafayette Lane. So after I saw the presentation tonight for this health curriculum, one thing really concerned, the materials, it doesn't really look like it's tailor-made for high school students, but rather than, especially, the one just showed on the slides, certain toolkits or kind of instructions is very in general. So that really concerns me. The second thing is, I think someone mentioned, let's think out of the box. So when we're talking about trying to reduce the stress for our kids and improve their health conditions, can we do more or better for their school starting time? I know that has been on the agenda. I think if we can accelerate that action, that should improve their health better rather than adding another course for another stress level on top of what they're having. And also, I think the school or the board has tried so hard to try to squeeze this curriculum into the current curriculum. But can we look at these things in a different angle? I think for our children or for our kids, if you can give them an extra 20 minutes in the morning, additional sleep, that definitely can help their health much, rather than give them a classroom style instruction. So that's my personal opinion. Thank you for listening.
Is there anyone else for public comment on agenda items? No, so at this point I'll close the public comment on agenda items. Did you want to respond to any of it?
Okay, so with respect to the health curriculum for the 10th grade and the 3 extra weeks, certainly we'll be happy to connect you to exactly what's available on Rubicon Atlas. If you're not able to find it, I'll be happy to send you instructions on that. I can also share with you the policy on being excused from class on particular curricular topics. There's a policy available on that. I'll be happy to distribute. I anticipate, to the extent that it is doable and will capture what's going on, we'll try to videotape Connect meetings in the same way that we try to videotape all of our parent presentations. We'll see how the environment is, how effective that's going to be. We don't have a videographer going around like this. We typically set up a camera. If that works, we'll try to make that work. Certainly don't see any reason why we wouldn't try to videotape BT Connect meetings. I think there was a question related to the time of a meeting being at 3:45. We don't have any BT Connect meetings scheduled for 3:45. The Communication Council, I believe, had some meetings for 3:45, but those weren't BT Connect meetings, so I'm not sure, there might be some confusion there. With respect to topics in health class and the challenge that can exist in students talking about things, I think that transcends and goes far beyond just health class. Students are perhaps hesitant to participate in some conversations in other classes as well. I can appreciate that that's a challenge, and I think that's part of what education is to try to help students get beyond some of those challenges and participate. But I can certainly see how there are challenges there. The idea that sometimes it seems as perhaps discussions could or should go deeper in some areas, or that maybe there should be time to hear from an addict, something very granular like that. Those things take time. I hope that having a little bit more time might allow for that. I believe that that's part of the intent that Mr. Shello expressed, the ability to move some topics around and have more time to go a little deeper, so hopefully we'll see that happen. Finally, with respect to school start times, even 20 minutes would be nice. Certainly, as the speaker noted, we are looking at that issue. I'd like to see us do a lot more than 20 minutes. The research that we shared out via SOS Express suggests that high school kids should not have school start times before 8:30 in the morning. That would be a tremendous goal to achieve, and we'll see where we can get with it, but it's not going to be an overnight process to look at that issue.
I just wanted to thank the student who spoke. I think she stepped out. I don't know if she's still out there in the hall, but we always appreciate hearing from students, and I hope that some students go to the meeting on Monday night to give feedback on the health curriculum and different things they think would be useful. I know my students have always really appreciated when they do bring a speaker in who they can relate to personally and stuff, so that's definitely feedback that we've gotten from students in the past, and hopefully, as Mr. Markarian said, there might be time for more of those type of activities. Anyone else have anything? Yeah, go ahead. Stay back.
Stay back.
I think, I don't know, she said she was 10th grade, right?
Yeah.
A little girl, a little young.
Yeah.
Well, because I remember that they did say they did bring in speakers. I remember at the presentation that Mrs. Clark said that they brought in someone from, right, from assemblies, or even, I thought she said even in the classroom, they had brought in people who have been in rehab or, right, in class. So that she might have been too young to have that yet, or maybe but it's there, and I wish she was here. And they're doing it, it's coming, it's, so just wanted.
Okay, at this point, we are up to approval of minutes. There's one item. Would someone like to make a motion? Tim and Jen Korn. Any questions or comments about the minutes? No? Can we have a roll call, please? Sorry, Sean.
Mr. Barker?
Yes?
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes?
Ms. Hewitt?
Yeah.
Ms. Richmond? Ms. Warren?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we're up to finance. There are 25 items. Would someone like to make a motion for those items? Linda and Karen Gray. Do you have a report?
Yes. Finance met on October 21st. First item was just a change the next finance committee meeting to December 4th. The second item was parental transportation contracts. Mr. McLaughlin explained that the board can negotiate with parents for transportation of their students to schools out of district. There are various legal requirements and insurance requirements that Mr. McLaughlin went through. As long as the parent meets all those requirements, then the district can negotiate directly with the parent. The third item was a presentation from Arthur Gallagher, Insurance Risk Management and Consulting. The first item was the Horizon ASH program, which is Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey is consolidating their chiropractic and physical medicine service into something called the American Specialty Health Program. Unfortunately, I guess for Verizon, that the New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance determined that the ASH program did not satisfy regulatory requirements and thus will not be implemented. The second item was budget for healthcare costs. So Arthur Gallagher presented the district's claims information from the time that we went self-insured in July 2018 through August 2019. There was an increase in claims in July and August 2019, but that Arthur Gallagher mentioned that was typical of school districts, so we're monitoring that going forward to project out for the 2021 school year in terms of cost increase. The next item was a recycling update by Anthony Bisbo, facilities manager director of facilities for the district, and Kevin O'Reilly from Aramark. Mr. Bisbo and Mr. O'Reilly met with Mr. Krause and Mr. Graber at Ridge. Aramark is going to get updated training on recycling, and more recycling bins have been added around League Field and are planned to be added near the gym, the pack, and the end of hallways at Ridge. In classrooms, we have close to 100% students have paper recycling bins, but we're trying to get more of the glass and bottle plastic recycling bins in the classrooms or at the end of hallways to consolidate the recycling. At Lee Field, Aramark empties the trash and recycling bins 1 hour after each game and then cleans them at the bleachers on Monday mornings. One idea that was discussed was whether the district could ask community members to donate their old blue recycle bins since the town moved to the larger bins. Mr. McLaughlin provided an update on the 2019 construction projects. The first item was the WAM's HVAC project, which is complete. The second item was the door hardware project is complete except for some minor hardware issues, I think, on one or two of the doors. The third item was the Ridge High School edition that went out to bid during the week of October 14th. Mr. McLaughlin and architects from Spiesel are corresponding with the Department of Education to obtain approval that the addition would be otherwise eligible for financing, even though we don't need financing, but we need the language from the DOE to make the withdrawal from our reserve to fund the project. The bid did include a provision for a generator to replace the battery backup for the PAC and what would be the new kitchen area. And the last item for the construction update was WAM's Science Labs. This has been a long time item on our to-do project list. The project would be to remodel select existing labs in the 300 and 400 wings and provide plumbing for demonstration tables. The project is estimated to cost $750,000 to $1 million. There is no proposal or bid for this project at this time. The committee discussed whether it was possible to get the project done this summer. If it is, from a design and bid perspective, we will probably have to bring on construction oversight positions because this will likely be done in parallel with the Ridge addition. The committee recommends that firm employed by the district be engaged to perform design work, since this will be required when the project is done this summer or another time in the future. The next item up for discussion was the Oak Street Playground project. The playground is installed, however, the contractor did not install the footings on a level surface, so the mulch surface at the playground bottom is not level. Various federal and state laws require that playground equipment has specific clearances above the ground. For example, a slide cannot be less than a certain height off the ground. The facilities director, Mr. Bispo, is meeting with the contractor to discuss possible solutions to this in terms of whether we can put railroad ties around the playground and fill it with dirt and mulching level, or whether the playground, in worst case scenario, would have to be reinstalled. The next item was the Ridge Lacrosse Wall project. The boosters, Ridge Locks boosters went out to get some estimates for the project after the location was discussed next to the bleachers. The estimates came back at 3 times their initial estimate of $75,000, so this project sort of has to go back to the drawing board. They need to find a new location and rescope the project. The boosters have been informed that when they do so, they'll need to send a new formal proposal to the board for authorization to proceed. Mr. Markarian presented a summary of different scenarios obtained from Somerset County Education Services for busing with later school start times. So currently we have 60 buses doing a first run for WAMS and Ridge, and then 60 buses go out for a second run for the elementary schools. 30. 30, I'm sorry, 30, thank you. In most of the scenarios, the start times would be flipped. Elementary would start earlier and WAMS Ridge would start later. There was, I think, 10 or 12 different scenarios that we looked at, and we're discussing that further with Somerset County Ed Services to get more of an insight into different schedules that could be implemented. The next item was essentially what Jimmy just reported on. There was a meeting with Aramore Food Services with the kids from Ridge and Drew and Mr. Krause about issues with Aramore Food Services. I'm not going to repeat that. So the items that we are voting on are 1 through 3 are standing items. 4 is professional development. 5 is a field trip location. 6 and 7 are sale of Chromebooks and other electronics. 8 is request for home instruction. 9 is request for room acoustic evaluation. 10 is for an out-of-district placement. 11 through 13 are placements at the VOTEC. 14 and 15 are special services. 16 is approval of a settlement and resultant out-of-district placement. 17 is a settlement and out-of-district placement. 18 is to approve a staff grant for the purchase of educational materials. 19 is approval of our triannually required comprehensive maintenance plan that we have to budget the amount that we propose for the school year. The state requires that you budget at least 2% of your yearly budget for comprehensive maintenance. 20 is a submission of an amendment to our ESEA contract for carryover on unexpected funds in 2018-19. 21 is an approval for a change of use for room 722 at Ridge to be used for small group instruction. 22 is approval of the contract for the ski team bus. 23 is pre-authorization to use competitive contracting for food services. And yeah, that's it. Any questions? Oh, I thought there was an addendum. Sorry about that.
Right, 23 was the contract.
23 competitive contracting, 24 was the parental contract, and 25 was the Spiesel design work for the WAM science labs. Yep, that's it.
I just have a question about the first of the 2 field trips in item 5. I'm just wondering, is that just the approval of the trip, or is there some busing or related funding on the part of the school district?
This is the location. Every time we have a new location, we have to approve the location.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, could we have a roll call, please? Mr. Syatt?
Mr. Byrne? Yes. Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes?
Ms. McEwen?
Yes.
Ms. Richmond?
Yeah.
Ms. Horn?
Yes.
Ms. Woolridge?
Yes.
Madam President.
Thank you. Okay, we're up to personnel. There's 20 items. There's an addendum with the last 2 items on it. Would someone like to make a motion? Linda and Tim. The Personnel Committee met on October 18th. We talked about a whole number of different personnel issues, most of which I can't report out on because they're confidential. I can mention a couple things we talked about. One of them was that there have been increasing numbers of students signing up for track at Ridge. And so last year in the spring, we had large numbers. And we added another spring assistant coach, and Mr. Shallow told us the numbers are looking high this year for winter and spring again. So we are waiting to hear the actual numbers before making a decision, but we may need to add a coach for winter so that all the students can participate. Let's see, what else can I report out? Number 18 on the agenda is the BTBOE contract final approval. So we had actually gotten a few questions from members of the public over the last couple weeks about the fact that we didn't vote on it yet. And I just wanted to explain that we had, in the spring, in June, we settled the contract before the school year was over, and the teachers ratified, and we voted on the memorandum of agreement. So the teachers have been working under the memorandum of agreement. So there's been no time that they were working without a contract. It takes a long time to get all the final legalese stuff all finalized in the document, which is why it doesn't take, it gets voted on later, and that's typical every year, every time there's a contract. So I just wanted to explain that. Let's see. We had a discussion about substitute teacher rates, and Mr. Syatt explained that we're having a lot of trouble, as are most districts, finding substitute teachers, and everyone's been increasing their rates to try to steal substitutes from the towns next door. So it was time to have that discussion again. And so we talked about a couple of other options of possibly adding an incentive if a substitute works a certain number of days in a prior school year, then the rate would be higher, to try to attract people to stay loyal to our district. So but nothing would go into effect until January, and we'll have an update on that later. And I think that's all that I can report out on. Does anyone have any questions? Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Ms. McEwen?
Yeah.
Ms. Richmond? Ms. Horn?
Yes.
Ms. Woolridge?
Yes.
Madam President.
Thank you. Okay, we're up to policy. There are 2 items. Would someone like to make a motion? Yeah, after we do the motion. So Tim's, and then we need a second. Jen Horn, second. Okay, then you can do it.
Okay, so I'm just going to go through from the beginning, or do you want me to go through the stuff on here first, and then take the first reading first, and then go back to discussion, or just do the discussion? All right.
Second reading, we change it.
No, the second reading is, that's the first reading. The first reading is, right, so it's full-time students at other schools. public schools, but I'm going to go through that. Yeah, so, and just a background, the out-of-district placements, which are paid for by the district, primarily at private schools, and their students placed at other public schools like VOTEC. Those are two differences. The students at VOTEC are students that are registered with the district but enrolled at VOTEC. So the NJSIAA has jurisdiction regarding sports participation, so that if the school you're enrolled in doesn't have a sport that you want to participate in, with the permission of the principals, you can participate in the school that you, with the district that you live in. So for what we're talking about is the Board of Education has jurisdiction over co-curricular activities. So like band or stuff like drama, stuff like that. And it's policy 2430. And so the policy states that the board will not permit students who reside in this district and who are not enrolled in the public school to participate in non-competitive co-curricular activities. That's how it's stated now. We were going to change the to an So basically saying that the policy will permit those students who are in a public school in VOTEC and reside in the district to participate in the co-curricular activities. So this change, this is for first reading today. So everyone understand that. So that the kids they're in public school, and if they want to be in a band or something like that. Marching band. So that's in the first reading, but now we'll go through our discussion that we had, which was written. We talked about there's security concerns with people walking on school grounds during the day. And in particular, we're talking about Lee Field and around the track. So people were using the track and then approaching the school in order to get inside to use the restroom. So it had created a security concern with students being there and trying to go inside the school, which they shouldn't be able to go inside the school. So the policy is 7510, which is use of school facilities, and there's a regulation 7510 as well. And it states that the use of the track is open to Berners Township residents when not in use for school or non-school organizations. It also states that organizations using the facility are to allow individuals to use the track unless it creates a safety hazard or distraction. So due to the fact that the track is in use for most of the school day, between the Ridge gym classes, the Ridge special ed classes, we have Cedar Hill gym classes that use the track as well in the field. It's our position that during the school day, the use of the track should be off limits to all but the school staff and the students. It would still fall under the existing policy and regulation as the use of our the use by our students during the day with individuals not employed by or associated with the school would present a safety hazard to the students in our view. So that was one of the discussions we had. Also the school calendar. So because of the new contract with the BTBOE, it stipulates 180 teaching days and 185 total days. So we had to revise the calendars to reflect the changes. So for the 2020-21 calendar, we're going to move the in-service days before school, so it'll be Wednesday, September 2nd, and Thursday, September 3rd. This gives the teachers Friday for the long weekend. So that's easy. And then another day off had to be added, and there are two viable options for the calendar. We could add the Friday, February 12th to the February break, and then use it as an extra snow day if needed. Or, which something would make more sense, we take a day off the end of the year, because we have a later start in the school year, anyway, so if we cut a day back, and then it would make Lamb's graduation Friday, June 18th. That would be a half day, and then the Ridge graduation would be a Monday, June 21st. And that would also be a half day and last day for all students. So those are the two options for the extra day we have to play with. The 2021-22 calendar, we take a day off the end of the year. This makes sense because the last day of the school is on a Friday then. The Williams graduation will be Thursday, June 16th. 2022, that would be a half day. And then the Ridge graduation will be Friday, June 17th is a half day and the last day of school for all students. And then we have a draft of the 2022-23 calendar. And that we'd have that year we'd have Diwali, which is on a Monday, so we'd have that day off, Monday, October 24th. Thursday and Friday, September 1st and 2nd, are in-service days for the teachers. So we could also give the BTA the option of moving the in-service days back one day to Wednesday, August 31st, and Thursday, September 1st, in order to have a long weekend. That would be up to them if they would want to do that. And the WAM's graduation would be Friday, June 16th, which would be a half day, and then Ridge graduation would be Monday, June 19th. That would be a half day and the last day of schools for students. So the only real decision would be about the 2020-21 calendar between doing the February day or just taking the day off. Taking a day off at the end of school. Which we could discuss.
I was, on that year, I was thinking that doing the February in order to have the graduation done, before the weekend might be a better choice, right? Wouldn't that be, or no?
No.
It wouldn't be?
Mm-mm.
So if we did the February, I'm getting mixed up between the different years.
We're giving a day off, so.
Oh, I see, okay, so it's the
Yeah.
opposite way?
No.
Okay, so it's not gonna make a
It-
difference, okay.
That's why next year,
Yeah.
it doesn't make it a Friday the
Right.
next year.
Yeah, but not that year.
No,
Okay.
so it's that's why it's kind of a toss-up, but it's
Right.
kind of doing it at the end of the year, just.
Right,
This is next
Be
year.
consistent.
to be
Take the same
consistent,
approach all through calendar.
yeah, to be less confusing.
That also gives us more of an option if there's a bad snow year, we can,
Because
or
it's
at
gonna
the
get
other
out
end,
to
it's
the
goes
summer.
February, it's not, our snow's been a lot.
In March, yes. So,
That makes sense.
I don't know if this struck anyone else, but it's a little troubling to me if you have WAM's graduation on Friday and high school graduation on Monday. You're delaying summer for families who have both by an entire weekend. I don't know how common this is. I feel like I don't remember it in a long time. And if nobody else is all that concerned about it, I'm just mentioning it as, something that struck me in listening.
I don't have to.
Well, in the one scenario, would WAMS be on Monday and Ridge would be Tuesday?
You could do
So then it
that.
would be
Then
split.
you're adding a day, and then you have
Right.
two.
That would be the only other way to fix that specific issue.
Well, there were two scenarios,
Right.
Well, the one was either we give a day off in February, so it'd be February the
Right.
12th or something, so it's like another day added to the winter. That would be a day off, but that would be one of our snow days we could use. But it doesn't,
That would make
that would
Friday,
just be a
Monday
day off.
into Monday, Tuesday,
Right.
versus not doing it in February.
Mhm.
So, we don't have to, it has to be decided.
I guess in my
By next
opinion, I think, what's the problem with Saturday graduation? That's my comment, but that's how, we talked about this before, when we talked about the calendar, which is always an exciting conversation. But,
that would be,
that's what I mean when I say that, not, but.
but then we have to have another day of school.
Right. Still have to have a day of school to get to the 180.
Students will report on Tuesday, then not scenarios.
No, on Monday. It'll be on Monday still, because we can do, I don't know, Friday, which on Saturday, I don't know what the lesson is or anything really, but if we had the Saturday graduation, they still have to go to school Monday.
Right, well, then you wouldn't put the 12th in.
No.
Oh, that's the other one.
Yeah.
Right, so
It's very confusing.
Yeah, they are, and we do 3 years out.
3
years,
yes.
Right.
So we're gonna do first reading of them next month?
Yes, we just wanted to get some thoughts,
Right.
and then we do first reading in November, and we're supposed to have them adopted in December.
So it sounds like the second 2 years are kind of no-brainers. It's only the first year that.
Yes, the second 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
The way it falls,
the second year is still, it's a Friday and Monday. That's,
just the way it falls.
but that's a draft calendar still.
Okay. So everyone should go back and study them and make sure that they don't have any
Yeah.
other things they want to send to the policy committee about this before they come out with the first reading on them.
Yeah,
That's why it's,
Yeah.
there's 2 Friday Mondays,
yes.
all right?
First and third. Because we have to have a days, is the problem.
No, I mean, you could do that, but then you're likely to need to push everything a day when you have to make up snow days. You know, you could say, well, we'll only
We still
plan
have
2
that
snow
issue.
days in a year. And then when you use those 2, you gotta push everything.
Well, you're not going to move graduation.
You wouldn't move
to 6.
graduation, but
No.
you'd have to have the kids come back technically for a day of graduation, for their 180th day. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone go back and study them, make sure everyone's all on the same page about
Yeah, if you have
what's
any
in
other
there.
thoughts, just shoot me a note, and we could play with it a little bit before we bring it up next month.
And then the next policy meeting is in
November 11th.
But that's all.
That's all that you have?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, does anyone have any questions or comments on anything besides the calendar? From the report? Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Brennan? Yes. Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Mrs. Bueller?
Yes.
Mrs. Richmond? Mrs. Warren?
Yes.
Yes.
Madam President?
Thank you. Okay, we're up to the curriculum committee.
Okay, so the curriculum committee met on October 4th, and so the first agenda item was a name change for a course that was previously called Content for ELLs, which is English Language Learners, and it's been changed to Integrated Concepts for English Language Learners, which more accurately reflects the course content. Also, we talked briefly about a supplemental textbook for AP Psychology. This is called Dreamland, The True Tale of America's Opiate Epidemic by Sam Quinones. It's going to be used as a supplemental textbook after the AP Psychology exam. And it's based on social science research. The next item was a review of various summer curriculum projects. The first was social studies. Ms. Rayfields reviewed the summer curriculum projects. There were quite a few. There was a project to develop an articulated U.S. history program across the curriculum. It's aligned with the departmental mission and achieves the New Jersey Student Learning Standards. Also, there is a social studies program evaluation for grades 9 through 12, which was started, and it will be continued this year and finalized next summer. AP US Government and Politics, the course was aligned with the new AP Government course and exam description and the new textbooks. AP Economics and Personal Finance, the curriculum was evaluated and refined, and changes required by the revised AP Microeconomics and AP Macroeconomics course and exam descriptions were made. 2 recommendations were to adopt a new course text to replace the current one, which is 8 years old, and to remove personal finance from the AP Economics curriculum, because now the AP Microeconomics and AP Macroeconomics are combined, and there's not enough time to cover personal finance. So students would need to take financial literacy, which is available either as a 1-semester course at Ridge or a 6-week summer course. Introduction to Psychology, this is a new full-year dual enrollment course with Raritan Valley Community College, and that would make psychology available to a wider range of students than AP Psychology. There were 2 projects for grades 6 through 8. One was to set up a common set of expectations for current events and note-taking, and the other was to develop one common assessment per marking period in every social studies course. Let's see. In grade 7, year 2, a new curriculum, Geography Alive, was adopted last year, and so updates were made based on feedback from year 1. Grades 3 through 5, revision year 2, same thing. It's called, it's another History Alive, Social Studies Alive and U.S. History Alive, and it was reviewed and modified. And then grade 3 standards-based report cards was finalized this summer and will be implemented this year. And another report card project in grades K1, 2, 4, and 5. Fine, Practical, and Performing Arts. Several courses were added for the 2019-20 school year. Dance 8 at William Annan, Dance 7 at William Annan, which is a cycle course, and Theater 8 at William Annan. Also, at Ridge, Computer Applications in Business. This semester offering replaces word processing. And Photo 3 now has an AP option. And then several courses at William Allen were reviewed and updated for the current school year, including American Cuisine, Foods, Art, 6th and 7th grade, cycle courses, and the 8th grade elective, concert choir, and music 6. They're introducing ukuleles instead of keyboards. We had an update on BT Connect. The first meeting was October 15th at 3:45 p.m. And some strand meetings were planned, which are now scheduled. We also we talked briefly about the Quest program. And Quest and Accelerated Math, which was formerly called Telescope Math, are now separate programs. And oversight and supervision of Accelerated Math has been moved to the Mathematics Department. So for Quest, there are 3 types of learning opportunities. There's Type 1, exploratory, Type 2, which is skill development with a cluster model, and Type 3, it's individual and small group for identified students. And so we discussed some topics that came up over the summer were the teacher schedules for Quest and the identification project. So those are both being looked at to see what improvements can be made. 2 parent information sessions on Quest for all elementary students are going to be held on October 30th, one at Mount Prospect in the morning from 9 to 10:30, and one at William Annan in the evening from 7 to 8:30. Oh, Cedar. Oh, okay, sorry. Cedar Hill, okay. Let's see, Accelerated Math. Most of the students that were in 6th grade Accelerated Math last year are currently in 7th grade Algebra. And then 9 students qualified for 7th grade Algebra without taking Accelerated Math. The next topic was a study skills course. Well, there are actually several courses, grades 6 through 12. Academic support courses have been renamed study skills beginning in this school year. Special education students take these courses instead of world language or a cycle course, depending on their grade level. Ms. Orr held department meetings with all the special education teachers to define a cohesive curriculum for grades 6 through 12. Students will still get academic help, but study skills are now the main focus. The topics covered are in 6th grade, organization and time management, 7th grade, using available tools and resources such as Google Classroom and online textbooks and databases, and test-taking skills, including study guides. In 8th grade, there'll be note-taking and understanding and applying IEP modifications. And then in 9th through 12th grade, self-advocacy and communications, applying strategies to improve reading comprehension, analytical skills, test-taking, and time management. Briefly, regarding elementary math, some questions about the elementary math curriculum were raised at back-to-school nights, and Mr. Colmer said that Go Math is still the district curriculum for grades K through 5. However, most teachers are also using supplemental resources. And then regarding the mock schedule at Ridge, Mr. Fackerman said that they're running some mock schedules in Genesis, and I believe he and Mr. Krause reported on that recently at a board presentation. And that was it. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Okay, we're up to Advocacy Committee, which I don't think has met because...
No, we have not met. We are meeting on November 4th.
Okay. We're up to SEL.
SEL is meeting on Thursday at 8 a.m.
Okay. Does anyone have any liaison committee reports? No? Okay. So now we're up to public comment on non-agenda items. If you have a question or comment, please come up and tell us your name and address, and you can sign in at the clipboard after you speak. And make sure anyone who spoke tonight signs in, because I think last time we had a few people that didn't sign in. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Young, and I live in 6 Sentinel Drive. I was at the last BOE board meeting. And you know, last time was my first time, and I think it's pretty interesting. I got a lot of information from our meeting, so I'm pretty sure I will be here a lot ever after this. And what I'm trying to talk is, okay, from the previous BOE candidate forum, I'm glad to hear from our candidates. Ruchika Hira, she talks about our school district helping the other school district with the special education programs. When the other school district cannot offer the program to their special needs kids, they contact us and outsource these kids to our school district. Is that right? Is that the situation?
We can address public comments when all the public
Okay,
comments
yeah,
are read,
because that's
so
what-
just making some notes.
Yeah, what we hear from her, but actually, it is pretty good. And you know, my family is in this program, so I know how important it means to all those kids and families. So thank you. But today, what I really want to focus on special, or maybe not special at all, academic need of our student, which was a big frustration here for years. Our students need your help. According to our BOE website, 27 AP courses offerings and 36 courses offered at honors level in our high school. But a lot of students have special academic interest. They have been dedicated years and years into special areas and want to take the AP course and AP test to achieve their goal. For example, we have a lot of IT families in our school district, and their kids are into the computer science so much. They want to do the AP Computer Science Principle or AP Computer Science Java, which we do not offer here. And also, AP Music Theory and the AP test is not offered in our high school either, which surprised me because I believe we have the best marching band, right, in our marching band in our high school. And I mean, our band and the orchestra programs have great success through elementary school all the way to the high school. Also, last meeting, we have a parent talk about AP Chinese. In the more than 10 years, hundreds of kids learned or are learning Chinese in the Chinese training center all around the Basking Ridge. Our school district cannot offer AP Chinese course or test to this student. From what I got today, I just noticed there's a new extracurricular clubs in the Ridge High School. It calls Chinese Culture Club. I see it here. It's pretty interesting. Because in the past, I remember, we always been reject the Chinese class because the school district tells us there's nobody interested. But now, because our school don't have the Chinese class in our school district, the students start their own club. They want to start from Chinese culture. I think that there's interest, and student has already doing something to start it. So for those three AP tests, I did a research before I came here. I noticed that these AP courses or tests are widely offered in public high schools in Princeton, West Windsor, Milburn, Chatham, Bridgewater, Addison, and Livingston.